Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tisha Speck and my name is Jennifer. My name is Jennifer, and on this channel I talk about beauty, lifestyle. I do gospel because very soon you'll be seeing lots of gospels. So don't be like, who is this girl? Who is this girl? Is it still Jennifer? It's still Jennifer. It's still the Tisha Speck channel, and I talk about gospel as well. Okay? So today's video we're talking about how I got my first job in Canada. Yes, I've gotten my first job in Canada and I've been working for a couple of weeks now. Let's say a month, I think. Alright guys, so and when I came, I started applying for jobs immediately after quarantine. You know, we had to quarantine for 14 days. So after 14 days, I started applying for jobs, and it took me 1 week to land this job. Okay, just 1 week. And another thing, when coming to Canada, let's say you've worked in your country for like 5 years, 6 years. When you come to Canada and you don't have the Canadian working experience, it gets really hard for you to get a job. Those who have been in this, who have been new immigrants, will agree with me that it becomes really hard for you to get a job or to get a good paying job, because Canadians always want you to have a Canadian experience. Okay, so most times you have to settle for jobs like cleaning, you know, just cleaning, house help, you know, just those kind of jobs. It doesn't mean that there are people who don't come and get good jobs right away. There are people who come and get good jobs, but we're talking about most of the time, we're talking about what is actually like more popular. I don't know, but they really want you to have a Canadian work experience. Okay, because so when you come and you don't have a Canadian work experience, it gets really hard for you to get a job. And that was my fear as well. I kept applying. I said I got my job within a week, right? So I kept applying. I kept applying and applying. I was applying, and well, I landed this one. Okay, so the job is all about, it's like this company, they specialize in getting people. Do you understand? Like, they employ people on behalf of another company. I hope you understand. So my mom, she saw this post about job about a job. The job is comfort care aid. Okay, the job is comfort care aid, if you know what comfort care aid is. So the job is a comfort care aid job. So we decided to just apply. I mean, we just wanted the experience, right? You know, we want the experience, so we applied for the job. And I think the next day we were called. Yeah, and we fixed the lady fixed a date for an interview. Yeah, she fixed a date for an interview, and the interview was over the phone. So, you know, I've heard some YouTubers say they find it hard to hear them. Yes, it's like when I was just coming, I had this fear of talking to them. Like, if I see a white person, I don't want to talk to them because I feel, oh, they're not going to understand me, or I'm not going to understand them. So I used to really avoid them. But on this day, I was going to have a phone interview. So talk. So I waited for the time she said she would call. She asked if she could call that day, but I said no. I wanted the interview the next day because I've never had a job interview ever in my life before. This is the truth. I've never had a job interview ever in my life before. So I told her to call the next day. So she said okay. So this, like, the night before that day, I spent my time, you know, going through interview questions that usually come in that kind of aspect. And the replies I was getting, like, they will give you interview questions and how you should reply. I was like, I've never done this job before. How am I going to you know, reply in this kind of manner? You know, and the lady that was interviewing me already knew that I've never done a comfort care aid job before. So she knew already I cannot go and lie to her. From the videos I was watching, I was like, I cannot go and lie that I've done this, I've done that. It's something that I've not done already. It's in my CV. I've not done that. She can see from my CV that I've not done that kind of job before. So when I just took my time going through, the videos, just for, just to prepare myself for what I might meet. Maybe not the exact questions, but just to prepare myself for what might be asked to me. So I prepared myself, and I also prayed about it. Okay, I prayed about it, and the next day I waited for her to call, and she didn't call. Okay, so we had to send her an email. We sent her an email explaining to her that we had an appointment. She agreed to call so time, but we're yet to see her call, something like that. And she replied back saying, oh, sorry, and she's going to call right away. Is it okay for her to call? Am I free enough for her to call me now, or I want another day? And I was like, oh, I'm free. I want the call, because me too, I wanted the interview to pass. Let me rest, because my mind was beating. So she called immediately. I told her that I'm okay, she can call right away. She called, so I had the interview. She was basically asking me how I feel working with old people. I answered her. I told her that I've never actually worked with old people in my life before, but I've had an experience with my grandfather where I took care of him, stuff like that. So, but I've never worked like officially taking care of old people before. So she was like, okay. So while I was taking care of my father, how did I see it? I was like, well, I saw it as an opportunity to see the world in his own perspective, because I noticed that when people are old, please, I'm not insulting anybody, they just behave like kids. So you need to be able to understand them, to be able to work with them, and for you and them to have a good relationship, you need to be able to understand them. Your communication with them should be good, and they should be able to understand you properly. That was what I told her. She asked me other questions as well concerning she was like, tell me about yourself. And I told her how I've graduated from high school, I'm yet to further, stuff like that, and the last place I worked, stuff like that. So she was like, okay, so I like you, and I'm sure you will get this job. I just want to tell you that you are hired. So I was hired right away. Okay, so when I was hired right away, I didn't know how they are supposed to tell me I'm hired. So when she said you're hired, I was like, okay, thank you so much. I felt she's still going to think about it before she tells me officially that I'm hired. So after the interview, I ran to mommy. I was like, mommy, she said I'm hired, is that true? She said, yes, you're hired. Did she say that? I said, yes. She said, and then you're hired. Oh, I was happy. Okay, so after that one, I stayed another week processing everything they sent to me to process. They sent, I had to get a police report, so many documents that I had to present to them. So it took me like a week to get ready with all those things. And then I wrote 2 exams. Yeah. There was one that I had like an online, what's it called now, orientation. I had an orientation, and there was an exam that came after that orientation, which I passed. According to them, if you don't pass that orientation, you would have to attend the orientation in person. Okay, so I passed it, and the orientation lasted for 6 hours. Okay, I think 5 point something hours, but close to 6 hours. Okay, so I spent my 6 hours sitting and watching this and viewing this orientation. It was an orientation that was already done, but they recorded it because there's COVID now, so they don't want to be meeting in person too much, so they had it recorded. So I had to sit down and make sure I go through it. And of course, questions are going to come after that 5 hours or 6 hours orientation. So you don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to skip everything and just send them a message that I'm done. and I want to get my questions. No. So I had to sit down and get, go through the orientation and whatever. Well, when the questions came, even the things I was expecting they would ask, they didn't ask those kind of questions. Like the way they brought out the questions in that orientation, they needed you to have listened to that video second by second and with all your attention, because they didn't bring questions that had, they didn't bring the topics, they brought they didn't bring the subtopics, they didn't even bring questions that sounded like they really discussed this thing. Maybe it was someone that just asked a question and they replied. Maybe they'll just ask you something around that question that the person asked, so the reply they gave to the person is, so if you did not watch the video very, and there's a time frame, once they notice that you're not doing anything, like when I finished the questions, when I finished answering them, I started just scrolling through them, rereading and reading all over again, just to make sure my answers are on point, because you have to score. There were 25 questions and you have to score 25 over 25, or you score 18 over 25 is not even allowed. Okay, so that was what I was told. So I wanted to make sure I'm on point, and before I could even finish going through the questions over again, they sent me a message that I'm taking to my session will soon be expired due to inactivity. So they noticed that I was not doing anything. So it's nothing like, oh, I will just go back and go and watch the video. No, they have a time frame for it. So if you are doing smarty, they will catch you. Okay. So that was how I submitted the questions, and oh God, my mind was beating. I was like, I hope I did not fail this thing. The whole day I didn't get any reply from them. The next day, Momsi had to send them an email with my email asking if they saw the questions, the answer to the questions I sent, if they saw the exam. So they replied and were like, yeah, they will get back to us as soon as they have marked, or they have seen that I've passed the exam, something like that. So that same day, I think in the evening, we got a message that congratulations. So yeah, I passed the exam. I wrote one other exam like that one. That one was like, I think 100 questions. That one too, I passed 100 over 100. Me that have not done nothing before. Okay, so I passed 100 over 100. Okay. That one was, you basically read like a long writing and then you answer it. I passed that one too. So I passed all the exams I was asked to write. Okay. So after I passed the exams and they sent me congratulations, you've passed. So the next thing you have to do is to choose is it what is it called now? A site. You have to choose a site or a place of work. Okay, so you have to choose a site or a place of work. So they're going to give you the jobs around you, the comfort care aid jobs around you. So you have to choose one particular one. Okay, so we were just going through them, and either the time is too much, they are like, I have to close by 11, and no, I cannot close by 11. If I close by 11, what time am I getting home? Stuff like that. So some were just weekend. That means you have to work only weekend, and I wanted to work full time. Okay, so when I see something like full time, weekends, I pass. So I got to this particular one, and it's really far actually, but if you have a car and you're going, it just takes 27 minutes. But if you have to take the bus, it's gonna take you 1 hour and 30 something minutes, and that is just their calculation if you meet your buses on time. If you have to go and sit and wait for your bus or something, you end up taking like 2 hours to go and come. Okay, hope you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so So I got this place. I chose my place of my site. I chose the site, and when I chose the site, the next 2 hours I received a message that they said I was going to have an orientation, another orientation. They were like, will you be, free, or will you be okay to come for an orientation on so day? And I was like, another orientation? How about now? I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing anything now. Let me go for the orientation. So when I went for the orientation, they taught me things. They took me for a tour. They took me for a tour around the building, and and funny enough, guys, I didn't get to do the comfort care aid job. I don't know how to put it like that. I got to do the screener. I worked. Right now I'm working next to the receptionist, so I'm not doing the comfort care aid in specific. When I got to the site, the position they really needed someone was the screener, so that was the one I was given. Okay, which I really, really love. God knows how to do his everything. I love that job. So that's the one I'm doing. I just screen people for COVID-19. They get in, and God has been protecting me. So yeah, so I just screen people for COVID-19. If the receptionist is not there, I represent her. Like, I pick calls and I transfer, things like that. So the job is just quite okay, and the pay is good. The pay is good. So that was how I got my first job. So that's it, guys. I hope to see you next time. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so you never miss another one of my videos. And please leave a comment. Please leave a comment. Please leave a comment below. Leave a thumbs up for me. Subscribe, tell your friend about my channel. And thank you so much for those of you who have been subscribing. Oh my god, I saw like 300 and something subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.